Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing very well and you're ready to start your day with myself. And for everyone that has been celebrating Eid, I hope you guys had a wonderful time with friends and family and you enjoyed the freedom of being able to eat at whatever time you liked. But as well as the celebrations, I would just like to highlight and I would just like to take a moment to remember all the people that may have struggled through Eid. Maybe they lost a loved one, maybe there was some tragedy or, all of these issues can also be happening to people. So, you need to know that we are all with you and we will help you through the rest of the year as well. So all our thoughts and prayers also for the people who struggled. And now moving on, we have a wonderful show lined up for you, very informative. As you know, during Ramadan, we were talking about healthy eating, the best way to get the most out of your fast and, feel the healthy repercussions of fasting, as well as the emotional, mental, spiritual element of it as well. Within Pakistan, we have seen a rise in health issues because people have become a lot more laid back with their approach to healthy activities. We are now seeing a rise in all these fast foods and restaurants, and the culture within Pakistan is to go out and eat a lot. So now what we will be discussing is what are the health issues after Eid that most people suffer with. Also, what are the best practices one can adopt? So to discuss this very important topic, we will be talking from general and we will get to the specific, focusing on the cardiology element of health, and then we will also be talking about the nutritional elements, what foods you should be eating, what's in season these days, according to what illness you're suffering from, what your diet should be. So to discuss all of these things, we have been very lucky. We've been joined by Dr. Nosheen Abbas. She's a consultant nutritionist at Islamabad Medical Hospital and also at Islamabad Diagnostic Center. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. Besides Dr. Nosheen Abbas, we've been joined by Dr. Mohammed Naeem Malik. He is the head of PIMS Cardiac Center. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you. Besides Dr. Mohammed Naeem Malik, we've been joined by Dr. Uzma Shahid. She is a family physician. Also, for all our viewers abroad, that is also known as a general physician, aka GP. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting.
Great. So we have a lot to cover and there's some really important elements. So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Uzma, because you are the family physician. You are the first point of contact for most people when they enter a hospital or they have some medical issue. So tell us, what are you seeing are the health issues post-Ramadan and post-Eid celebrations?
Okay. The basic thing is after a month of fasting, basically the timings for eating have changed.
Yes.
And after that month of fasting, you have a feast.
Yes.
And for that feast, people will not stop. They will eat. So mostly gastric issues.
Okay.
We'll come across with gastric issues, first of all, because people have lots of sweet things, sugars, and all meat. This is what our Pakistani culture is.
Yes.
Whenever we have celebrations, we'll go ahead for some meaty foods and sweets. And after so many days of fasting, and if we keep on eating, so people have lots of issues.
Right.
First of all, they have bloating, because of the spices, and throughout Ramadan they have that gastric, the acidity levels increase because of spicy foods, the pakoras and everything.
Yeah.
So that's why that is one issue.
Right.
Then because people eat fatty food, so they may have, they come with a complaint of nausea.
Right.
And vomitings.
Okay.
Vomitings, and obviously if they eat a lot, then diarrhea.
Okay.
So these are the major things that we come across after Eid, the
Okay.
gastric issues.
Right. Okay. So now, before we move on to Dr. Mohammed Naeem, because the heart and all these different issues, and I have slightly ignorant in the issues that we could be facing, and we will get Dr. Naeem to tell us. But before we move on to him, I just want to ask quickly, Dr. Nosheen. Dr. Uzma very rightly mentioned that we're not trying to tell you what to eat on Eid because we've been, for a month we've been kind of holding ourselves back. But post-Eid, post-Ramadan, the gastric issues that Dr. Uzma mentioned, what kind of nutritional should we be doing with that?
Maha, I would suggest that after Ramadan, we should try to indulge ourselves into a smaller portion diet, right? Like if you're having a breakfast, then try to have lunch and dinners, because it's more like we have been having intermittent fasting. It's like 16 hours long fast, then we have an eating window. So if just to avoid the things which Dr. Saiba has mentioned, try to have loads of liquid after once you start eating normally, and I would suggest that the adults try to have occasional fasting. What does occasional fasting does is like twice a week you can fast after Ramadan.
We're going to come to this intermittent fasting post Ramadan.
No, that's not intermittent. That's occasional fasting.
That's occasional.
Yes, intermittent fasting is different from occasional fasting. It's just like bringing your system back to the normal. So you can just like after 30 days or 29 days of fasting, our system has been used to of 2 times of meal a day. So if you do occasional fasting, it will be easier to adapt this change in life.
Okay, wonderful. And I do want to break this down quite a bit with you in a moment, but I just want to bring Dr. Mohammed Naeem into the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. What have you seen with, because you know you're head of a huge cardiac center, what are we seeing are the issues that people are facing post Ramadan and Eid celebrations?
Well, categorically speaking about the cardiac patients, those who are suffering from some cardiac disease, like they are suffering from hypertension or coronary artery disease, and unfortunately, most of the cardiac patients, they are diabetics also.
Okay.
So, like our 2 colleagues have told, that in the month of Ramadan, it's a very long period of fasting, say about 16 to 17 hours.
Yes.
And when you are not eating for 16 to 17 hours and then suddenly you start eating and you have to take your calories in 6, 7, 8 hours. So your body then adjusts to that system. And once on Eid, you know, we are a nation, either we are happy or sad, we want to eat.
Yes, absolutely.
And the type of food we eat, you know, it's very enriched. And we want to eat sweets. So on Eid, we have to be a little careful.
Okay.
Not only with the quantity of food as well as with the quality of food.
Right.
So don't overload yourself. Don't try to eat too much in a short time.
Right.
Because your body has been adjusted to the previous routine, and now it will take some time to come back to its baseline routine, where it was before the start of the Ramadan.
Okay.
So the cardiac ailments or the diseases, what happens with the different balance in Ramadan, your blood sugar levels as well as your blood pressure, they adjust with that balance.
Right.
And once you are back to your routine, that balance is again disturbed. So you can have rises in your blood sugar levels. That can go mad like anything, and will require constant monitoring, constant checking with your glucometer, and then adjusting your doses of insulin if you are on it, or oral medicines which you are trying for the control of the taking for the control of blood sugars. And same thing can happen to your blood pressure.
Okay. Because
during Ramadan, the blood pressure tends to fall a little because of 2 factors, which I think. Number one is during Ramadan, one usually gets dehydrated.
Okay.
Because how much you can drink in 7, 8 hours, you cannot really compensate for the water intake which you are normally taking during the day. So one usually gets dehydrated.
Right.
Other thing is that definitely there is low caloric intake during Ramadan. So blood pressure tends to fall a little. So what I do, I usually decrease the dose of antihypertensive drugs to my patients, those who want to fast.
Right.
And very important thing is that you must fast with the advice of your doctor.
Absolutely. And we
Don't
have-
go against the advice of the doctor.
Right, and this is one thing that we do see happen quite a lot, because you know it is about the relationship with your God and your religion, and no one is trying to take anyone away from it. But at the end of the day, your family, your friends, your loved ones want you around to celebrate the next Ramadan and the next Eids as well. So I want to move on now to Dr. Uzma. As Dr. Naeem has rightly mentioned, that there are multiple issues. Your body gets used to one way, and then all of a sudden we're shocking it and feasting. What kind of advice would you be giving to the people that are coming to you? What kind of healthy practices should they adopt?
Okay.
And how soon should they do it?
Yes. Mostly diabetic patients, they should definitely, because diabetes is all over our country, right?
Yes.
So the diabetic patients, they should make it a point that they should come to their doctor before the start of Ramadan. They should know how to adjust the doses. It's very, very important. And those who do it on their own, they then suffer, because religiously everybody wants to fast, especially the diabetics. And during the fasting time, usually the blood sugar levels, they are better at that time, but they have to monitor their sugar levels. I always advise them that they have to check their sugar levels with the glucometers during the daytime, because it's very important.
How regularly? How many? Every 2 hours?
It depends if they are on oral hypoglycemics or they are on insulin. If they are on insulin, then they have to check, at least twice or thrice.
Okay.
Because then they have to know if the sugar is going down, they have to open it,
Absolutely. So I want to pause it there and move on to Dr. Nosheen. So what kind of dietary requirements would you recommend for all our diabetic patients?
For diabetic patients, I would suggest that if they are fasting, then they really need to be careful with their diet. First,
No, we know, yeah. So
yeah. Then they need to have everything. They should take soluble fibers. What they should now I'll tell you the detail. Like for soluble fibers, I mean they should have oatmeal. They should have whole grains. In the whole grains, we have brown flour, and we should replace all the whites with the browns. So with all the browns, they are rich in fiber. So we should be careful with that. Then again, the diabetic patient should take fruits which has a low glycemic index. What is a low glycemic index? Any fruit which gives us the insulin spike, which is not that much as if we eat mango, it has a real high insulin spike. As compared to strawberries, they have a low insulin spike.
But there's no strawberries right now.
No, they're not available. I'm generally telling you.
Okay, so
apple gives a low insulin spike. Then we have pears. Then we have papaya. Then we have these are the fruits which have low insulin spike, and they are recommended. Even the unripe banana, not the ripened one, unripe banana has a low insulin spike, and that is useful if you continue having it after your iftari or anything, right?
Wonderful.
Yes, and similarly for them, we need to have legumes, and we need to have vegetable oils, and again whole grain. Whole grain means brown. Please, I would suggest, please, anyone who is diabetic or hypertensive or is not having any issues, if you bring some changes in your life at this point of time, they will be really helpful in future.
Okay.
So like replace your whites with the browns.
Okay, so that's one solid piece of advice then, all the different fruits and stuff that you can have. So now, so I want to come back to you. Now, you've mentioned very important things. Within Pakistan, hypertension, blood pressure, all these cardiac illnesses and diseases are quite prevalent. We did a show on this a few weeks ago, so the numbers are increasing. Where do you think we're going wrong, and this is two-part questions. Where do you think we're going wrong, and how would you advise our patients to adopt these healthy practices? Because when we're talking about it, it seems easy, but actually when you have to live your life, it becomes very difficult, because everyone cooks like that. You go to the restaurants, everyone makes things, very rich and heavy on oils and things.
First of all, the prevalence of hypertension in Pakistan, it's about 16 to 18%. 16% in the rural areas and about 18% in the urban areas. Why there is a difference? I think the tensions in the city life while driving, during the job,
yes, while
we
driving,
face,
sure.
possibly they are the contributing factors.
Yes.
And unfortunately, these things are on the rise. First of all, there is a genetic predisposition.
Right, okay.
those who are genetically predisposed to hypertension, they at some stage of their life, they are going to develop this high blood pressure. And other thing is your lifestyle. We want to know about the diseases, but we don't want to mend our ways. We eat too much, and the quality of food which we eat is always enriched and fried food and things like that, and saltish meat and
Bhuna,
yes.
Yep.
So
I
that is definitely going to contribute. That is going to rise your blood pressure. And unfortunately, we don't want to exercise.
Yes.
It's a very few people. If you go on the walking tracks in the morning or in the evening, there are few people who are seriously walking, and the rest of the people, more than 90%, they are just roaming around and eating food and things like that. So this is, in my opinion, a contributing factor to the rise of number of patients suffering from hypertension.
Right. Okay. So, Dr. Uzma, then, you know, because you're the first point.
Yes.
So why is this happening? You know, why are our consultants and our head of departments not seeing a decrease? Are people not coming to the family physicians on time? What?
The point is actually this is people usually they would avoid, and they will just go and buy some medicines for themselves and treat themselves at home.
Self-medication.
Yes, self-medication is very common in Pakistan. Plus the other thing is, once they are, you know, very sick, then they think that we should go, and there are several people around who are giving advices, and they'll just follow that. So what I would like is that I would advise people that if, you know, prevention is better than cure, and if they have some illness, they should come straight away, because, you know, it can be treated earlier, and then later it becomes very difficult.
Absolutely.
So this is very important. One thing that I usually, you know, we see on Eid, even the children who are not fasting, you know, they are getting a lot of Eidis, and then they are, you know, taking vendor foods and the snacks, and they end up into vomitings and diarrheas as well. So if they have dehydrations, don't take it easy. The parents should bring the kids in.
Okay, and so now, Dr. Nosheen, Dr. Naeem highlighted a very important, that even the foods that we are getting, even when people are trying to be healthy, they're either enriched or they're maybe not organic, or there's something, you know, we read a lot of stuff where people are pumping things with hormones or I don't know what it is. You know, so how do our viewers make sure that what they're buying, how can they ensure that it's of good quality and it's healthy for them?
Well, Maha, surety we can't give, because, you know, but now...
I don't want to surety, but just different like little techniques or tricks.
Techniques, yes. They've been organic markets now, and they are they're available within our approach. So if we, first of all, if we want to have a good and a healthy lifestyle, we need to get rid of the processed food, which is a very much common in practice. We as parents and other parents, what they see and do is what is readily and easily available, we try to give that to our kids. Even as adults, we consume that. So we need to be careful with that. We need to be specific with our choices, from where to buy and how to change the eating practices in the house also. So like as you've mentioned, if I say like sir has mentioned about hypertension and all, we as a nutritionist, we first try to control as a DASH diet, dietary interventions to stop hypertension. Similarly, we have other approaches also to have a better lifestyle, similarly for diabetes also. And I would suggest try to have fresh fruits, fresh salads, fresh vegetables. Do not stock them in your fridge, and do not stock even meat in your fridge. The frozen food with a longer period of time, they lose their nutritional value. So by picking out these changes in your lifestyle, you can actually bring out changes in your health also. Right. So again, try to have fruits and vegetables from the organic markets, as the people who are growing it, they exactly know the source from where they're getting it.
Okay. So now another thing that was mentioned by both Dr. Uzma and Dr. Naeem is about we like our sweets. We love it. It's cultural, you know,
Culture.
mithai and, you know, barfi and all these things. It's fantastic. Gulab jamun. I can go on about mithai. Now, if you're already genetically predisposed, so, you know that. So when you're having children, what kind of dietary practices should we be taking with our kids as well to keep them interested? Because like Dr. Azma mentioned, during Ramadan we like to spoil ourselves, and then they get Eidi, and then they go and do the street foods. So how do we make our children aware that they need to be healthier?
Maha, we need to be really specific with our choices, right? For the kids, as if for Eid, you can't control, like adults, you can't control kids also. They you know, it's a celebration mode, and all. But in general life practice, you need to be stop giving your kids white sugar.
Okay.
If it's possible, try to have pure honey or brown sugar, which in Urdu you call good. That's a good approach to having. White sugar is simply we call white poison, right? So if we omit sugar from our diets and we switch on to a lower like honey or the brown sugar, that will really help us to have not to face those for future consequences which we can by consuming white sugar.
Okay.
So, and similarly, we need to check and balance on our kids' intake, right? The ice creams and shakes and all that.
Cold drinks,
Cold
etc.
drinks, exactly. Fizzy
Okay,
drinks.
wonderful. And on that note, we're going to take a short break. And when you come back, we're going to delve more into the different treatments out there, especially in the cardiac center, what is out there, how affordable they are, and also talk a little bit more about the preventative issues as well. And then another element I really want to bring in is about because of people indulging or maybe overindulging, the emergency centers and the hospitals get a bit packed. So we're going to talk about what the issue is there and how you can best look after yourself. Do stay tuned.
Passion for polo will be the highest on the world's highest polo ground. Chandur invites visitors to experience a traditional polo tournament between the teams of Chitral and Gilgit. The tournament is held on Chandur Pass, the highest polo ground in the world, at 3,700 meters above sea level. The first time a polo tournament took place on the Chandur Pass was in 1936. It is a place unique and exotic in itself, surrounded by some of the most spectacular mountain scenery in the world. The event marks the annual rivalry between the teams of Chitral and Gilgit. The polo tournament has some added attractions for the visitors: trout fishing at the nearby streams and lakes, and a festival of folk dances and music of northern Pakistan. The event in itself offers a fascinating insight into the lifestyle of the people of this region. Their culture and indigenous customs are a delight to behold for the visitors. Crystal clear lakes, snow-covered mountains, alpine flowers, and vast stretches of green grass are added attractions. Fairs and festivals of Pakistan.
Welcome back, everybody. And before the break, for all the new viewers that have just joined us, we have been talking about after Eid health issues and the best practices one can adopt into their life. And we've already gone through a lot of the issues that people can suffer during, post, and then the long-term consequences. But now I want to come back to Dr. Naeem. Because, you know, this is something, because we've also done a show on it recently, so we're now kind of aware of the number of issues that people are facing. So what other issues are you seeing within the cardiac center and within patients that maybe you weren't seeing 10 years ago that are now becoming a bit more prevalent? Because you're talking about the hypertension is getting really serious now, correct? Or not?
In fact, the problems are the same,
Okay.
but more and more patients are coming up.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I want to tell you that this disease of coronary artery is creeping up into younger generation.
Okay.
About 20 years back, we used to see, we were in habit of seeing the patients in the age group of 50s and 60s and 70s. But now we are quite frequently seeing patients with heart attack in the age group of 20s and 30s.
That's really
That is very
worrying.
alarming, very, very alarming. And one of the reasons which I see as a reason for this is smoking. Smoking is on the rise in Pakistan.
Yes, it is.
And it has been said by WHO and other agencies. Government seriously has to do something for this trend of increasing trend of smoking. And from the news, we come to know that younger generation of schools and colleges, they are not only indulged in smoking as well as in other narcotics.
Okay.
Now, I would request the government, the ruling authorities, to please wake up, because my children are also studying in the schools and colleges, and so will be yours. So please do something before something really serious happens.
And also we did, just so for our viewers who are aware, we did do a World Tobacco Day where it was about, and we did have someone from the CADD talking to us about the different campaigns and legislations. And now on our website as well, you can get the number. If you see someone smoking in a non-smoking area, be it the parks, restaurants, official government buildings, any public area, and it says no smoking, there is a number you can call and those people will get fines. And last year alone, 31 lakhs was taken in fines as well. So that's the thing, the effort needs to be on the government side, but also as individuals, we need to make sure that we are implementing, because we are the custodians as well, correct, of our health. So thank you so much for raising that, that's very important. So Dr. Uzma, we're seeing a rise in smoking. Dr. Naeem's highlighted a very important point. That is also something that we see an increase of post-Ramadan as well, because during the day, people are fasting and then they chain smoke during Iftari. Now they can smoke all day. What can you advise for youngsters out there? Because if we're seeing a rise in, you know, all these issues at such young ages, we need to do something.
Obviously, smoking is, you know, it's a known carcinogen. And people smoking a pack of cigarette, you know, for 20 years, definitely they are going to get cancer out of it. So it's a very important thing that smoking should be, it should not be practiced, you know.
Okay.
It's not good. What we should do is, obviously, it should be the school children, the college children, they should be, you know, taught. Media can play a great role in this.
Okay.
Because usually it is fantasized.
It's
very
glamorized,
good,
yes. We do it, you're absolutely right. So Dr. Nosheen, what are things that we can distract ourselves if we want to smoke? You know, is there anything we can eat, or is there anything that's not? Because also that's another reason why some people avoid giving up smoking, because they're scared about the weight gain as well.
Absolutely.
And these days we're very obsessed, and the youth is very obsessed with being very slim and trimmed.
Unfortunately, in our culture, in our society, what happens is we quit smoking and at the time where we have been told that you've been suffering from certain thing. It's again, it's an addiction. We really need a big time motivation to quit smoking. People who are motivated and who are really concerned about their health, they try, because you or me, we can't just make somebody quit smoking. It's the inner thing, inner motivation, which needs to be there for a person to quit smoking. And as I would suggest, if you there have been certain things like if you want to smoke, go out for a walk. There be people have been practicing. Do something you really enjoy. Like if you like music, listen to music or play guitar. And if you like to watch movie or TV or something very informative, just to divert your attention from this. And I tell you, 1 week time, if you give yourself, the nicotine just washes out from your body. And after that, that's the psychological dependence. That's not something which is needed by the body. That's your brain giving you the signals like you need to smoke.
Like you said, do like watch TV. As like for a lot of people, it's about keeping busy with their hands or whatnot.
Exactly.
Maybe they have some social awkwardness or whatever. But we've done multiple shows, so you can pick that up from online. But Dr. Naeem, now let's talk about the treatments out there. We've talked about all the preventative measures and stuff, but let's now talk about what is available to all our young patients and the older ones.
Well, I'll talk about the Cardiac Center of PIMS,
Yes.
because I am responsible
Yes.
for my center. And fortunately, we are offering every treatment to our cardiac patients.
Wonderful.
And those who can afford, we offer this treatment at a very affordable price.
Great.
That includes stenting as well as cardiac surgery. And those who cannot afford, we have the means where we can offer them free treatment.
Excellent.
So we give medicines free of cost to all the patients who are reporting to OPD or emergency of cardiac center. And that includes all types of medicines, cardiac medicines, antibiotics, and anti-ulcer treatment, painkillers, everything we are offering free of cost. We are giving, rather, not offering, free of cost to our patients. Then we have 3 full-fledged cardiac cath labs, which are functional in the morning, and we can also open up in the evening if required. And then we have stents available in PIMS. We are implanting free stents to the poor patients.
Great, that's wonderful.
And we are doing cardiac surgery. So all kind of treatment, possible treatment in Pakistan, we are offering to our patients.
Wonderful. And this is one thing that we hear a lot, that people go abroad for a lot of their treatments because, they have either, don't have as much trust maybe, or, they have belief within the treatment.
I think gone are the days when the people would go out for the cardiac treatment.
Excellent.
Apart from cardiac transplantation, which soon I think government will take steps to make it available in Pakistan as well. So apart from that, I think we are doing everything, almost everything.
Excellent. And at the same level, at the same
Wonderful. At par with the world.
Excellent. And this is what we like to do on our show. We like to, get rid of misconceptions about Pakistan, and there's nothing better than when the experts come in and tell us the situation as well. So that's wonderful to hear, because you hear a lot. People like to be negative; they like to focus on the bad stuff, but there is some good stuff. There's always a silver lining in every.
I would like to add something to this.
Yes.
That there are some recognized complications, which happen not only in our center, but also in the best centers of the world. And let me tell you,
yes, tell us some.
Yes, that our complication ratio is not really more than what it has been described in our textbooks. So, like 1 out of 1,000 patients undergoing coronary angiography will die. Yes.
And this is a universal.
And this is an established fact.
Right.
Whether you do it in Pakistan or you do it in America or Europe, wherever it is. So one has to die.
Okay.
So that unfortunate guy can be anyone.
Exactly. Okay.
So that has to happen. The complications which are recognized, which are established, they will happen in Pakistan as well.
Right.
And please don't blame us on that.
Okay, well, and could you just highlight a few of the other recognized complications that one can go through? So you said like 1 out of 1,000 will unfortunately not be successful. So what about the other ones do we see?
The angiography is a procedure which either we do from the arm, like mostly we are doing from the radial artery, or from the femoral artery, which is in the groin.
Okay.
So complications can occur right from the prick area to the heart, to the brain, to the kidneys. Some complications are acute, they happen on the time, and some are late.
Okay.
Like the renal complications, they are sometimes late. The dye which we inject into the arteries, it can create reaction, and the patient can die with the reaction.
Okay.
Yes, the patient can have heart attack during the procedure, patient can have stroke, and a patient can have hematoma at the site of the prick.
Right.
So anything. So one should not really lose the caution.
Okay.
One should always be cautious.
Okay, exactly. So, you know, do make sure you do your research and also be aware because, you know, because we haven't taken preventative measures, we've pushed ourselves, that's why we're in that situation. So, you know, prevention is better than cure, but if you do go for the treatments, do bear in mind that there are generic and general issues that can take place, no matter where you are in the world. So now, because we are running short of time, Dr. Uzma, I would like you to highlight what other treatments are there. You've mentioned a lot of different things.
Yes.
So diabetes, hypertension, gastric, bloating, you know, we've got the food nutritional element, but also one thing, I want you to highlight how dangerous and bad practice it is to self-medicate and get over-the-counter, you know, self-medication.
You know, that's very important because I think I'll talk about the emergencies
Okay, yes.
that we receive. So the thing is, first thing is obviously the patients who have chronic illnesses, who are already on treatments, like diabetics, hypertensives, you know, if they have post-Eid complications and if they are not feeling well, they should definitely rush to the hospital.
Okay.
They should not stay back home and do their self-medication or adjust their insulins and everything. Usually, you know, they need IV fluids, they need hospital care. Even with vomitings and diarrhea, you know, 3 major issues are there, the gastric issues, the diabetics and the hypertensives, right? So for the gastric issues, they should come for the IV fluids so that they don't get dehydrated. And if they have pain, you know, they need to be treated at hospital. So they should go to the hospital. The other thing is the diabetics, you know, because of fasting, and as I told you, they need adjustment, the dose adjustment, especially insulin dependent patients, and they should also go to the hospital if they have issues post-Eid, because usually the clinics are closed during that time, but they have to go to the hospital, rush towards that. And even for hypertensives, everybody usually have a monitor. Usually they have a monitor at home. They should monitor their blood pressure, they should monitor their sugar, and if they have issues, they can go ahead.
Wonderful. And thank you so much for that. And now, Dr. Nasheen, this, I just want to ask you, when someone is, you know, had maybe diarrhea or an upset stomach, or you know, there's some form of dehydration going on, these sachets that you get that, you know, replenish the electrolytes. Are they good? Are they bad? What's up with that?
No, you can have them if you think that you're getting dehydrated. First of all, try to replenish your fluid level with the normal water intake. And if you think that it's out of control, then you need to have certain kind of like lemon and salt water added with honey, just to replenish the electrolyte disbalance which you've been suffering from the diarrhea or the vomitings. And similarly, it's but you have for the diabetics, I would suggest do not take these the sachets which you have mentioned.
Okay.
Yes, because it has a sugar level. You don't know in diabetes either the levels are high or the levels are low. So you need to be careful about that also.
Wonderful. We've actually run out of time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
It's been
you
an
so much.
absolute pleasure having you on the show and discussing very important things. And I'm sure our viewers took a lot away from that. Thank you so much. So that was a lot of information for you guys, to be preventative measures, how we can adopt healthy practices, and also the treatments and cures out there as well. One thing that, we've always promoted on the show is that don't leave it till last minute, because a lot of the times there are treatments out there. You can get better completely, but a lot of times within Pakistan, as our panelists have highlighted very aptly, we leave things till the last minute. So please do try and adopt these healthy practices, because we need to see your beautiful, smiling, healthy faces around. With that, have a wonderful day, and we will see you bright and early very soon. If you would like any information that on what we've spoken about, log on to our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of World This Morning, our Twitter page, World This Morning without a G, our Daily Motion and YouTube page, World This Morning. The repeat is at 11:05 p.m. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the food out there, but make sure that you're eating healthy and you're being healthy. See you soon. Thank you so much. World This Morning, our Twitter page, World This Morning without a G, our Daily Motion and YouTube page, World This Morning, and the repeat is at 11:05 p.m. this evening, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful day, be good, be safe, and good luck with your fast.